This is the story of one of the most profound and impactful lessons Jesus ever taught, one that defied social norms and shattered prejudice. Stop and imagine this. You're walking alone on a road, a dangerous road, and you see another traveler beaten, robbed, and left for dead. Do you stop to help? Or do you keep walking, fearful of what might happen to you? This is the question Jesus posed to his audience in one of his famed parables, the story of the Good Samaritan. Picture this. The setting is a rugged and winding road that stretches 17 miles between Jerusalem and Jericho, infamous for robberies and ambushes. It's a hot day, with the sun baking the rocks and sand into surfaces too hot to touch. A Jewish man is traveling this lonely way, probably anxious, quickening his pace to avoid danger. But his fears come true. A gang of bandits appears out of nowhere. They pounce on him, strip him of his clothes, and leave him bloodied, broken, and unconscious. In that moment, he becomes utterly invisible, a figure laying on the side of the path, ignored by the world. But wait, here comes hope. A priest is traveling down the same road. If anyone would help, it should be him, right? A man of God, someone expected to live by compassion and mercy. Surely he will stop. But instead, the priest sees the injured man and crosses to the other side of the path to avoid getting involved. His reasons are his own. Perhaps he feared defilement, as touching a dead body would make him ceremonially unclean. Perhaps he was just in a hurry. Whatever the reason, he leaves the man behind. As the priest vanishes in the distance, another individual comes along, a Levite, someone dedicated to serving in the temple. If anyone should represent kindness and service, it should be a Levite. The man stirs faintly, maybe thinking this time someone will help. But no. The Levite also moves to the other side and continues, leaving the wounded traveler to his fate. Two people, both from his own community, his own faith, his own people, have failed him. And that's when everything changes. A third traveler appears, but this one isn't like the others. He's a Samaritan. For context, Samaritans and Jews didn't see eye to eye. Their relationship was filled with bitter animosity, centuries of mistrust and cultural divide. To hear that a Samaritan even paused to look at a Jew in need was astonishing, let alone that he would act. But act, he did. The Samaritan sees the battered man and doesn't hesitate. His heart bursts open with compassion. He approaches him carefully, tending to his wounds with oil and wine, a makeshift antiseptic and balm. He tears strips from his own clothes to bandage the man. Imagine his hands trembling as he works, his forehead dripping with sweat under the relentless sun. He lifts the injured man onto his own donkey, the animal now carrying the stranger instead of himself. Together they move slowly toward the nearest inn, each painful step a testament to the Samaritan's endurance and determination. At the inn, the Samaritan doesn't just drop the man off and leave. He stays with him through the night, caring for him personally. And here's the incredible part. The next morning, he gives the innkeeper 2 denarii, 2 full days' wages, and says, "Take care of him, and if you need to spend more, I'll repay you when I return." How amazing is that? This wasn't a temporary fix. This was an ongoing commitment to a total stranger, someone his culture had taught him to hate. The Samaritan didn't see a Jew or an enemy that day. He saw a human being in desperate need. When Jesus told this story, he asked a simple yet profound question. Who was the neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers? The answer is clear. It's the Samaritan. Not the priest, not the Levite, but the one who showed mercy. But why did Jesus tell this story in the first place? Let's rewind. A lawyer had asked Jesus, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" In response, Jesus asked him what the law said. The lawyer replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Then the lawyer, seeking to justify himself, asked, "Who is my neighbor?" And that's when Jesus shared this parable, redefining what it means to be a neighbor. Jesus' message was revolutionary. He's saying that being a neighbor isn't about proximity or shared culture. It's about extending love and mercy to anyone in need, regardless of their background. It challenges us to rise above whatever divides us, be it race, nationality, or ideology. It pushes us to look at others not as strangers, but as brothers and sisters deserving of love. Now let's take a moment to reflect. How often do we walk by someone in need because we're too busy, too skeptical, or too afraid? What are the excuses we make to justify inaction? This story isn't just about people who lived 2,000 years ago. It's about us today. Opportunities to act as the Good Samaritan are all around us. They're in the coworker drowning under stress, the homeless person we pass on the street, the classmate struggling with confidence, or the friend no one seems to notice is quietly suffering. The Good Samaritan teaches us that love requires action and sometimes sacrifice. It means putting aside our own comfort, going the extra mile, and being willing to help without expecting anything in return. And yes, it's hard. It's easier to look the other way, to let someone else take care of it. But remember, love is the greatest commandment, and love is inherently inconvenient. So, what can we take from this story? First, love knows no boundaries. Mercy is not selective. Second, showing kindness can change lives, maybe even save them. Can you imagine the impact of that Samaritan's actions? The man who was left for dead almost certainly never forgot the stranger who saved him. And third, this story is a call to action for each of us. Are we willing to be the Good Samaritan in our own time and place? Jesus ended the story with a command: go and do likewise. Those 4 words echo across millennia, challenging us today to reflect His love and mercy in our actions. So, ask yourself, in my life, who can I be a neighbor to? Who needs my love, my time, my compassion? And when you get the chance to step into the shoes of the Good Samaritan, I hope you take it. Thank you for watching and joining me on this journey through a timeless lesson of love, compassion, and mercy. Until next time, let's strive to go and do likewise. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.